Thank you very much, Anna. And again, thank you for Anna and Investor Expos for giving us this opportunity to spread the word as to what we do, and hopefully I'll start making some really good money here, folks. And today, of course, is Thursday, October the 22nd, 2020. My name is Hugh. I am the head trader and the presenter here this morning, and trading in volatile times, but in particular, trading SPY options. Day trade safely and profitably in volatile times. And I'm going to give you a brief summation as to the way I see things unfolding here today. And in fact, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a bit of an introduction to options trading because I know there are a lot of people who have not traded before, or they might not be familiar with options, and really get to understand what these are. So for those of you who are experienced, I'm going to ask for your indulgence as we talk about some pretty elementary items here. And of course, anybody who's new to options, I certainly I'm not going to be getting into any high technical stuff that you're going to miss. So this should be a very good sort of a webinar for you. Then we're going to tell you a little bit about my outlook for SPY in Q4 as we head into the last parts of this year. Then I'm going to give you some of my favorite trading tips for these times, and then I actually have a gift for you as well. So with that, I am going to talk about day trading SPY options and what we're all about here. That's what we do. We day trade options on SPY. Just a little brief history of my own journey into this world. I started as an internal auditor for a major insurance company, and like the good salaried employee, I actually gave away a lot of my money to my financial guru to invest in my future, and I entrusted him with that. And unfortunately, uh, it was a mistake that I wasn't on top of it. Before I realized, he had lost half of my money, so I promptly called him and said, "Listen, I just want you to cut me a check for whatever's left. Obviously, I have to learn how to do this myself since you are incapable or whatever." You weren't paying attention, I guess. But anyway, so I went through many courses and different things, and I started with equities. I looked at futures. I looked at commodities. I looked at Forex, and I kept coming back to this thing called options, which I really enjoyed, and I really sort of understood. And for that reason, I actually really got into options, and I really did well with them. I really did well. So that's what I eventually zoned in on, a very laser beam tight trading technique that worked very well for me. And then what happened, I started bringing home the toys, lots of vacations, new cars, new house, new airplane. So my friends, family, neighbors said, "Okay, Hugh, you're on to something. What are you doing? What are you doing?" Because, obviously, money doesn't seem to be an object for you anymore. I said, "Well, I'm trading SPY options." And, "Well, can you teach us? Can you teach us?" And that was over 10 years ago. So this business, actually, Day Trade SPY, started quite by accident because of that. And so we started teaching people, and we came out with different programs and everything. And before we knew it, we were actually in the full-blown business of teaching people how to day trade SPY options. And a lot of people are doing very well with this. So that's all we do. I don't look at anything else anymore. I don't trade equities. I don't care about futures. I don't even care about other companies. And I know there are a lot of companies out there that you can make a lot of money on, but if you just trade SPY, you can do very well. One stock, one strategy, 1 hour a day for a very respectable gain, daily gain. And so over the years, we figured out what works and what doesn't work in both trading and training. And you actually have the advantage of, like I say, 10 plus years of that knowledge and experience. And when I look back, I got to be honest. When I look back, I really wish I had a Hugh back in those days to teach me and take me through the through the fire that I had to learn. But anyway, you have that advantage, so please take advantage of it. Okay. So the question is, why SPY? People ask sometimes, well, why do you trade SPY? What is it with SPY? Well, SPY is a stock that tracks the S&P 500, which is actually the SPX. That would be the basket of the top 500 stocks. Now, the SPX is a very expensive stock. It covers everything, but SPY is just a stock that tracks that. So wherever SPX goes, or the top 500 stocks in the US, that's where SPY is going to go. So basically, you can cut out a lot of the preliminary work with having to look at stocks and try and figure out where they're going to go and all these other wonderful things. You can just basically get online fairly early. I mean, I get up every morning at about 8:30 to get online, 8:30 Eastern time. I spend maybe an hour looking at the markets and the news and everything else to see where SPY is going to go. It's not like I have to stay up all night the night before and all these things trying to determine where certain companies are going to go. But I like SPY because it covers the top 500 stocks. For example, this here is just the start of the list. It gives you about 25 names, the top names. Apple, you can see, is #1 by weight. Okay, capitalization by weight. Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Alphabet, which is Google. So you have these stocks listed by weight as to capitalization. And what I like about it is, say, Apple being #1, coming in at 6.6% of the entire weight of the top 500 stocks. If theoretically Apple goes bankrupt this afternoon, in and of itself, it should not affect the S&P by that much, right? It's only about 6.6% of the weight. Now, of course, the reality is if Apple goes down, it's going to take a lot of other stocks down with it, including a lot of the tech stocks. So, I mean, that is the reality. But the thing is that no one stock is going to necessarily direct where SPY is going to go. And that I think is very important. So you're basically looking to see, well, where's the economy in general going? And also people ask me, well, why don't you diversify? And I reply, well, I can't think of a more diverse stock than SPY. All 11 sectors are covered here. This is the most diversified stock out there. We've got communications, consumer discretionary, energy, financials, healthcare, materials. It's all there. It's all there. So again, it's very diversified in so many different ways. It's also the most liquid. Okay, this is the most traded stock out there. Liquidity is very important because one thing you don't want to do is buy an option or a stock and not be able to sell it because there are no real buyers at the other end. Now, I have traded over $100,000 in a single trade in options in the past. I don't do that anymore, but I used to, and I got filled in seconds. It's the most liquid stock out there. Millions of shares are traded daily on SPY. For example, and every day I can pull up a volume figure at the end of the day. And this particular day, a couple of days ago, 63,574,000 shares of SPY traded. I've seen many times where SPY would trade well over 100 million shares. A few months ago, when the liquidity was huge and volatility was huge, and everybody was getting in on the action, I remember something like 419 million shares traded that one day. My goodness, that's more than one share per person in the U.S. It was huge. So I like it because it's also affordable. So when you trade SPY options, each option controls 100 underlying shares. And you can actually get in and control 100 shares of SPY for about $300, actually even less. You can also pay more, but that's just a nice round number, $300. You can actually get in there for much, much less and control 100 shares. Each option controls 100 shares. So it's very affordable. You don't have to be, mega rich to get into trading, a SPY. Just anybody can get into this, and I think it's really important. That's really important. And so that appeals to a wider range of people, right? So, and I know I've talked, I talked to college kids that are trading SPY now, right? Because they have a little bit of money, they might not have a lot, but they have enough to get it and actually start trading, start early on. So let me tell you, it also gives you opportunity to trade safely, because the way we trade, we can trade safely, relatively speaking, or we can trade very excitedly. If I want something very adrenaline rushing, I can trade SPY. I can just trade, say, today's expirations, and that'll give me the excitement, the adrenaline rush that I need. Or I could trade safely and trade, say, 2 or 3 weeks out expiration, where it's a relatively safe trade. But I should tell you that in learning this material, I threw in the towel probably a dozen times. All right, nobody, ladies and gentlemen, is born a great trader. You have to understand that traders, all right, it takes a long time to process to get into a successful trading business. It's not, good traders are not born. In fact, I don't even believe there's a school they can go to learn this material. This comes from years of in the trenches trading. And that's really where you learn it. So in my quest to learn this, like I say, I threw in the towel. I quit. Must be at least 12 times, probably closer to 20. But I kept coming back because I kept coming back, and I would look at two things. I would look at the charts, and I would say to myself, "This is unbelievable." The stock goes up and it goes down. Every day it goes up and it goes down, and I don't need much of a move to make money. And then I would also look at this chart right here that you're seeing on the right, the lows and highs for the day. Now, it doesn't matter. Every day gives you the same sort of numbers. I just picked one at random here. And this is at the end of the day. This is on calls. It could be on call options or put options, and I'll get back into that in a little bit. But look at this. The low is down to 2 cents and the high is $1.30. The low is 1 cent, the high is 70 cents. So that means that if by chance I was able to buy the options for 1 penny and sold them for 70 cents, does that mean I could have made like $70,000 or some crazy thing, or 7,000, whatever those numbers? It's huge. That gap is absolutely huge. Look, I'm not trying to make 1,000% or 7,000% on an option. I'm just trying to make 6 or 7%. Can I not do that? And so I kept coming back, and I actually realized that it's not that difficult to make some very serious money on the market when you understand how to do it. Why trade SPY? Well, I'll tell you, now is the time to trade SPY more than ever. First of all, you can work from the safety and comfort of your own home. You don't need to go out. You don't have to worry about wearing a mask. You don't even have to wear, you don't have to even get dressed up if you want. I know a lot of people who just trade in their pajamas. Okay, you just get up, you go down to your office and trade. So you're going to be safe, and I think that is very, very important today. And by the way, my heart goes out, and my hat goes out to all the frontline workers who continue to go to work every day in these dangerous times. That's actually very very encouraging and stuff. But trading options, you can do this from anywhere, including your home. You can work whenever you want, as much or as little as you want. There's no overhead that you need to concern yourself, no inventory that you have to buy, process, store, and sell, especially your family and friends. You have no employees or government agencies that you have to deal with. You don't have any customers that you have to find or service or even try to collect from after the fact. And you can start with a little bit of capital. You don't need a lot, and the potential is unlimited. And you're rewarded for your skills. So I mean, how cool is that? And here in the U.S., you get, in many parts of the world, favorable tax concessions as options traders. And I think that is really pretty cool. The power of options. These are extremely powerful tools. And I want to tell you, one of the reasons that I really love it is because the risk is limited. Now, the way we trade, all right, the way we trade, you can only lose what you put into the trade. I tell you that there are many options strategies out there, and some of these option strategies are very high risk trades. We do not trade the way we trade. We do not trade those ultra high risk trades. What we do is we only limit what we can put in. I'm going to give you a little story here. First of all, I want to step back. Okay, there are two names that you have to know, and this applies especially for the new people who don't know anything about options. Uh, Options are actually contracts. Okay, you're not actually buying the stock. You're buying a contract that enables the options holder to trade a certain stock by a certain date for a certain price. You have the ability to do that, but not the obligation. Now, you have to understand two names. One is called a call option. If you expect the market to go up, you would buy a call option. If you expect the market to go down, you would buy a put option. Call up, put down. These are contracts. These are contracts that enable the holder to trade a certain underlying stock for a certain price by a certain date. You're not obliged to, but you can. So this is actually a pretty cool thing. So you can only risk what you're putting into the trade. There are other strategies that will actually increase your risk. And I want to tell you a little story. A few years ago, I actually had a lady coming from the health sciences field. She was a massage therapist, a wonderful lady, Amber, and she learned how to trade SPY options. She was doing very well. She was doing very well. And then one day, it's pretty funny. She said to me, "Oh, Hugh, I discovered a new strategy." I said, "Oh my gosh, what is it, Amber?" She said, "I'm trading naked puts on a company called FFIV." I said, "Amber, I want you to stop that right now." "Well, I'm making money, Hugh." I said, "You're making money now," and I'm not going to get into the details on that strategy, but I said, "You're making money now, but you're going to at some point FFIV is going to go down, and you're making money as long as FFIV stays the same or goes up. But one day it's going to go down. It's not if, it's a matter of when." And then what happens is you're going to get a margin call if you don't have the capital to fund the your commitments to that stock. And it could be very painful. Okay, but I'm making money. So she argued with me and she kept doing her strategy, which is she was making money on the upside, but the stock had to stay the same or continue on up. Anyway, long story short, she ended up calling me one day. So, "Oh my gosh, Hugh, I got a margin call from my broker." "Oh my gosh, Amber, what do they want?" "They want, I can't remember what she said, 40 or $45,000. And I said, "Well, you have to come up with that money or they liquidate your account." Well, she didn't have the money. They liquidated her account. She's no longer trading. And I couldn't believe it because in all frankness, she was doing very well trading SPY options, but she diverted her attention to this other alluring strategy and she got burned. And if she stayed with the SPY options that we trade, she would have done extremely well. She would have had all her goals and aspirations met, not a problem. With the way we trade, risk is limited and the moves are quick. We're not in here for the long haul. We're in here for just make a quick buck, get in, get out, get on with the next trade. Get in, get out, get on with the next trade. Moves are quick and the leverage is huge. And that's the beauty of options. You don't need a lot of movement in the underlying stock, SPY, to make a lot of money on the options. A very small move is going to give you that profit that you're looking for. And the other thing is we can make money both going up and down. So if you see the market going down, you can actually make a lot of money there as well. And that is actually an amazing trait with SPY options, as you know, for people like us as retail traders. This is something that the institutions don't even have at their ability to do because they have to only make money on the upside. They don't have the abilities as much to make money to the downside. I often get this question, well, how does this work? Let me see, you talk about the stock, but you're trading options. I'm really confused. So an option is actually a contract on an underlying stock. And of course, the stock that we're talking about is SPY. So here's a comparison of some potential gains to give you an idea of the leverage that we're talking about. Let's compare the stock versus the option. Now, I did this presentation a few days ago, at least this part here, when SPY was trading for about $339 a share. So if you were to buy 100 shares of SPY at $339, it would cost you $33,900. And for the sake of this demonstration, I'm not going to talk about commissions. Everybody has a slightly different commission structure. It's not going to be material in the overall scheme of things. So we're just going to talk about the straight buying and selling of the stock versus the option. So if you were to buy 100 shares, you're dishing out $33,900. That's a lot of money for most people. All right. Now, if you buy one contract, which, as I mentioned, controls 100 underlying shares at a rate of $4.64, that's what this one particular contract was trading for at that time, it's going to cost you $464. They put it in these terms, $4.64, but because there are 100 underlying shares, you actually have to multiply that number by 100. So you're paying $464, excuse me, for one contract to control the same number of shares as if you were to buy the underlying stock for 33,900. That's a pretty cool way of doing it. Most people can afford that. So let's say the stock moves up $1. If it moves up $1, it is now worth $34,000 if you bought the stock. Now, with options, there are these things called Greeks, which are factors that are applied to the option. One of those is called the delta. Again, don't worry about the technicals, but just know that the delta represents the relationship between the option and the underlying stock. So if you see a delta of 50, that means if the stock moves up $1, the option moves up 50 cents. Okay. So, and that's really what the delta would be at this, what they call at the money option for 464. So if the stock moves up $1, your stock value is now 34,000, but your option is now jumping from 464 up to $514. And that's a pretty good move. So your return on investment here is on the stock, it'd be 0.29%. 0.29% versus the option, which would be 10.8%. Well, I think this is a no-brainer because you have limited exposure. I mean, with SPY, let's face it, it's probably never going to go to zero. If SPY goes to zero, we have bigger issues to worry about. But let's say with some other stock, and other stocks can go down. I mean, back in 2008, 2009, Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, these are the banks, many banks, General Motors, you never would have thought they would have gone down. If you had underlying shares in any of those companies and many, many more, you'd have gone to zero. But with options, your risk would have only been $464, right? And your return on investment, a whopping 10.8%. How cool is that? Folks, I'm going to give you my outlook for the rest of the year here for Q4, right? As we head into the end of the year and beyond. I believe that volatility is going to be high. It's going to remain high. And I really see that to be a factor as the elections get underway and even into early November. I don't see that subsiding much. So I think it's going to heat up even more as we get closer. And now if you think they were arguing before, the next 2 weeks are going to be absolutely unbelievable. Volatility is going to remain high. All right. Market making news will be dominated by cyclical reports of coronavirus, COVID vaccines, economic lockdowns. The more they lock down the economy, the more markets are going to go down. The more they come out with news on vaccines, the more markets are going to go up. The more they come out with news that the vaccine is not going to be available until such and such a time, the market's going to go down. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be mixed with vacillating stimulus package news as well. The U.S. is now fighting over trying to get a stimulus package going because millions of Americans are out of work. They have no money. Their unemployment ran out. They have to do something. And now President Trump has said, oh, we're not going to have a stimulus package until after the elections. But then he tweeted that, well, we're going to have something. And now they're all battling it out. So whenever you see some positive news with the stimulus, markets go up. Whenever you see negative news, it goes down. The volatility is absolutely phenomenally crazy these days. And even though you don't necessarily see it in the implied volatility, but markets can move a lot in a very short period of time. They're very touchy, very sensitive. I believe that coming up, lockdowns will boost. All right, the more lockdowns we have globally, they're going to boost what they call the FANG stocks. These are those top stocks, right? Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google. I think Tesla would be in there too, even though they're not part of the S&P 500. Microsoft would be in there too. So those few stocks, okay, they are going to continue to go up with lockdowns. And when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. It's because people are staying home, they're on their computers. They're, of course, Microsoft, they're watching Netflix, right? They're buying on Amazon, they're getting their goods delivered. So those stocks are going to continue going higher. Now, here's the thing. This is why SPY is hitting record highs. Those stocks comprise of about 25, 26% of the entire S&P as far as the capitalization is concerned. So those handful of stocks are pushing SPY so high, despite the fact that other companies, when you're out there driving around and you're seeing, oh my gosh, JCPenney is down, Brooks Brothers is down, and this is down, and that's down, and all these other companies are suffering and they're going bankrupt. So we're splitting this chasm in here. Okay, those FANG stocks are reaching new highs, whereas most of the other stocks are going down lower. So 75% of market cap stocks, they're going to probably drop. And the ones that are going to be affected the most, hospitality, all right, the hotel, travel, tourism, all of that is going to go down. Leisure, retail, casinos. I think you're going to see a big drop in a lot of those. Retail, that'll all continue to suffer into the rest of the year and probably well into 2021. So here's what I see coming up with the elections. And again, this is just my opinion, but from gauging from all the material I've read and I've talked to and different things, all right, if Trump wins, I think there will be some stability setting in, although it might not be on the immediate. All right, it might still be another couple of weeks before we see some stability setting in. And I think if Biden wins, the market's going to be fearful of that, and you may see a lot of funds flowing out of the U.S. equity markets. I might see an increase in bonds, and I think SPY will probably drop if Biden wins. So the market's actually very nervous about a Biden win. Okay, and but if Trump wins, I think you're going to see some stability and the market rise back up as that happens. There's a lot of rhetoric being said out there right now, and I think it's just kind of crazy. I think either way, COVID will continue to be on the forefront well into 2021. I don't see anything around that until COVID disappears or they come up with a vaccine. I think that's going to be very, very much on the forefront and dominating the news. Okay. So, how do you trade in these volatile times? You want safety as much as possible. So, number one, you need to stay positive. Stay positive in these trying times. How do you do that? It's easier said than done. First said than done. So first of all, separate fact from fiction. There's a lot of rhetoric being thrown around. I mean, even a lot of political jokes. But if you go back in time, you'll see that only the names change in these jokes. It's all the same stuff. It's it's gone on since the beginning of time. Separate fact from fiction. Try and look at the facts. Okay, look at the facts. Go back in history and see, what's kind of gone on. All right. Number two, identify a positive. Every day when I get up in the morning, I always think, okay, well, let me see. I'm still doing pretty good. I've got clean air that I'm breathing. I've got food in the fridge, good food. It's not outdated. I've got I've got a really good family. I've got heat, nice, comfortable bed. I've got all my homes, my cars, all these clothes. I'm healthy. All these wonderful things. Even if it's something as simple as that. Identify positives. Give thanks to the positives in your life because that will attract more positives. If you think about how bad things are, you're going to attract bad things. Create an attitude of gratitude. You really need to do this. I can think of 100 things every morning when I get up that I'm thankful for. 100 things. I mean, just to have the internet, to live in a day and age of internet where I can actually communicate with people literally around the world in an instant. If my family or friends are far away, it's not a big deal. Imagine if we had this COVID issue, many, many years ago before the internet, and we cannot even continue to talk to people. That would really be hard, right? That'd be really, really hard. Create an attitude of gratitude. I think that will keep your demeanor positive, your attitude positive, and I think that is really important for success on the market. Now, when major events happen, you have to stop and assess the market first. You got to stop everything you're doing trading. Okay. So when something happens, okay, when there's going to be a big election coming up, just pull back a little bit and just sit back and watch. Just watch. This happened, I think it was a couple months ago or several months ago. I can't remember the issue, what it was, but volatility just shot up through the roof. And I was looking at the volume of trading going on. I noticed the volume had just dropped down to almost nothing. Now, a novice trader would not be looking at that, right? Novice trader was, okay, I'm just going to jump right in and buy this and buy that. Volatility on SPY was, I remember, 80, 90, 100%, just for moments, but it was still that high, which means that the option prices were also high. Only a fool would have jumped in on that one, okay, or somebody who really doesn't know. So if you don't know what you're doing with options, I'm going to recommend that you have to learn, okay? Uh, fool and his money seldom easily part, I think is the saying. So if you're finding that some major event happens, just stop, sit back and see what's going on, assess the market. Do not trade until you understand the situation that's going on and the risks involved, because something is going to happen, something is happening. All right, number three, enter carefully in high volatility, enter carefully with lower capital and lower expectations. So if the volatility jumps up and I'm determined that I still want to trade today, and let's say normally I would trade, I'm just going to throw a number out there, $5,000, I may trade down to 2,000 or even 1,500. And instead of maybe shooting for 6 or 7%, I might pull that back down to 4 or 5%. All right, profit target. So enter carefully with lower capital and expectations. In part, you won't be disappointed, all right, if it doesn't hit that target price. and prepare for more modest gains that you're comfortable with risk. All right. You really need to be comfortable with risk. That is paramount in this business. All right. Number four, especially if you are new to trading, you must paper trade. If you are new to trading our system, you paper trade. All right, paper trade 20 to 30 times before embarking on real trades. Very, very important. And when I say 20 to 30 times, I'm saying if it takes 40 to 50 times, go back, log your trades, okay, assess what you did right, what you did wrong, and only when you're very comfortable with the results, then start transitioning to real money. And only then, still paper trade 9 trades, then do 1 real. Then do 8 paper trades, 1 reel, 7 paper trades, 1 reel. Transition into it that way, starting with about $1,000. Okay, this way you won't be shocked. All right, number 5, review your positions. Readily identify any challenges that you might have. I think that's very important as well, because if you can quickly change tack, you can still aim to stay in positions for a short duration and make money. All right, we're trading short term, not long term. Long term is to the end of the day for us. Readily identify challenges. You don't want to be in a position that you cannot manage or control. Very important in high volatility times. And prepare to spend more time in cash. Just because the stock market is open doesn't mean you have to be in a trade all the time. Okay, very important. Do not feel the need to always be in a trade. Always practice safe trading and safe money management. Very important. Money management is key. Very easy to lose your money in this business, and there's no reset button. You can't call your broker and say, can you give me a mulligan on that? Reset it, give me another pass. Like so many times before, ladies and gentlemen, this too shall pass, and we're going to look back at these days and say, my gosh, I can't believe I got through it. Folks, stay safe and in both health and in the market. That's one way of doing it. Now, I've got some tips to trade in this market that's, I think, very, very cool, and I think it's really important to know these. So what I would recommend here is, number 1, identify clear goals in your life. And in the market too, okay? But in life, do you want to retire early, comfortably? Do you want to help your kids, grandkids, assist in other ways? I know people who have different goals. One gentleman who's part of our program, he actually takes his profits in SPY trading and he builds schools in Guatemala and Honduras for orphan kids. Amazing. I applaud this gentleman so much, and other people do similar things. But even if it's something as simple as buying a new house or a boat or whatever, what do you want to do? Really understand what you need to do and want to do in your life, and then see what you need to do in your trading career. Get very, very good, clear goals in that. How are you going to get there? And then create a trading plan. And we can help you with that. We actually have trading plans that we put together for people that actually holds you accountable and helps you right along the way. Okay, it's actually pretty cool when you follow a trading plan, just how quickly you can get to your goals. Number 3, commit to a program to help get you there. Very important. Join a support group. We have this thing called the Inner Circle, which is an amazing support group. It's been going for over 10 years now, 10 and a half years, stronger than ever. And I'll tell you a little more about that in a little bit here. And then you want to commit to your plan and schedule. Okay, whatever that plan is, you want to commit to it. And it is a schedule. All right. And it's amazing that when you commit to a plan and you hold yourself accountable, just how well that works. It's not pie in the sky. You're not just trading willy-nilly there. You actually have a plan. And it's like anything else. If you don't have a plan, all right, you have a plan to go nowhere, right? And let's face it, if you think this doesn't apply to you, let me ask you, if it were easy, would you not have done it already? That's why you're here, isn't it? A lot of people are online, folks, and a lot of people I know try different programs, but we have something that has been proven and it works, and it's pretty cool. Just like in this trading plan, I want to tell you, right? I keep stressing that you need a plan to custom fit your particular situation, your goals. It's not a one size fits all in this business. Everybody's going to have different goals, different capitalizations, different risk tolerances. All right, that is really all important. That's what we do with trading plans. See, well, what is your situation like? Let's make it to your situation and how you're going to get to, from A to B. And then you have to commit to it, and then you have to actually trade it, execute it. I think it's really important to follow it religiously. Okay, follow it religiously. I know that so many people I talk to, and it's very easy to do. As soon as you fall off track, you find yourself in trouble, right? And now you have to worry about, well, now what do I do? Now what do I do? So I think it's really important. Trading plan. All right. And number 5, engage the assistance of a coach. You need to engage the assistance of a coach. I don't know. I don't know of any sport, anything of any value, actors, singers, any sport figures. I would not, jump into a boxing ring against Mike Tyson or any of these guys without having been coached. Okay. I won't last. I won't last, 2 seconds. Okay. You need a coach. You need a coach. And like I mentioned, I wish I had a coach back in those days. Take a mentor with you because together you can achieve it. You need a coach, somebody who you can listen to, who will listen to you, who's been there, done that. They've got the scars, trading from the trenches. They know, right? They know what works, what doesn't work. So they can reduce your learning curve by massive amounts so you don't have to go through that. All right, folks, I want to tell you right now, we can help you. We can actually help you. We have this thing I mentioned earlier called the Inner Circle. The Inner Circle is actually a program that every morning we send out an email as to the way we see the markets unfolding. It is not intrusive. You're not going to be bombarded with millions of emails every day that you get so frustrated you don't even read any of them, nothing like that. We send one email in the morning as to the way I see the market, a very brief synopsis. And we send a follow-up email later in the day, which I'll tell you a little bit about, as to what actually happened and more. The Inner Circle, it's not intrusive, doesn't cost you much, very reliable, accurate, and it's very helpful. These are words that other people have used, not me, but we'll take it. Thank you very much. I'm going to give you an example of what the Inner Circle is all about. This is from yesterday morning, 9 o'clock Eastern time. This is exactly what I sent out in an email. Negotiators continue to press ahead with efforts to reach a sweeping COVID deal. So I tell you a little bit about the news that is setting the stage for what's coming up. Forward looking, investors are waiting for the stimulus deal before snapping out of this mold. This is yesterday, Wednesday, October the 21st. This here is what I had predicted, influencing prices to rise, possibly touching 346, possibly, but wasn't for sure. I may look to call options once SPY breaks out of resistance. I even tell you what I am looking to do. So here's what actually happened yesterday. Right at market open, 9:30. By the way, these charts are courtesy of TD Ameritrade, Thinkorswim. The market ran up and it ran up. It came to within, I think, about 25, 30 cents of that 346 predicted target before it started pulling back. I don't know where it went after that. I'm just running at with this one here, and this is where actually we made money going to the upside. Okay, it wasn't even that, we didn't even have to go that high, but I'm just telling you this is our prediction, and that's exactly what had happened. And then I send out an email later in the day as to what actually happened, what I actually did, and I tell you very simply, investors kept SPY range bound as Wall Street sat back waiting for the news on the stimulus negotiations. Of course, nothing was resolved. Reports that talks continued this afternoon were encouraging, but a firm agreement still appeared far off. And I tell you a little bit about support resistance and some of the things that we look at. And I did this here in the trading room. So every morning we actually have a trading room. It's not part of the Inner Circle. This is actually another service that we provide, but we had our trading room, and that's where I bought the 345 strike price calls that expire on October the 30th. I bought them for $4.71, sold it 6 minutes later for an 8.1% gain. And that was a very good bell ringer. We love that. 8.1% in 6 minutes. Where can you get that? And I talk about some other things too. And also, I give you a screenshot of what I actually did trade right there on the bottom. That's our follow-up report. Something else about the Inner Circle I want to tell you about. We have our weekly meetups. We have our weekly meetups every Thursday night. As a matter of fact, if you get in now, as a matter of fact, I believe that that you can actually get on this Thursday night, tonight's meetup. Every Thursday night, 9 o'clock, we get together and discuss the trades of the day. Whether it's your trades, we answer your questions. We talk about chart patterns, setups, the Greeks, your particular positions, any news, what's coming. We're going to talk about the stimulus package tonight, anything related to SPY options, and we answer your questions. You can either email them in or simply ask them during that time. These sessions are also recorded and sent to you after each session. So if you are, say, in a different time zone or you're busy or whatever, not a problem. You're going to get the recordings. They're about an hour long, and you can sit back and just watch what we talked about that day. This is all part of the inner circle. So why trade with us? Who are we anyway? Well, I'll tell you something. We've got the experience that you need. If you're interested in a way of how to make money, you don't really care about knowing everything there is about the stock market, but you want to know how to make money, we have the experience to get you there. We also give you personal support. You see, when you're an inner circle member, you can actually fire off an email to us and we answer them fairly quickly, okay? Which is pretty cool for quick questions. Personal support. We give you value pricing in everything we do. We have other programs too, but one thing about us, you are not, it's impossible actually to spend a lot of money with us before realizing this is not what you want. If you've ever bought a program, you spent thousands of dollars and you take it home and say, oh my gosh, this isn't what I want. I don't understand. It doesn't work for me. And I can't take it back. With us, it's impossible. You can only spend a little bit of money and you're going to learn a lot. That's the way it is. Value pricing and everything we do. We're approachable, accommodating. We're of service to you. No hidden agendas, no costly upsells to anything. And we trade what we teach. We teach what we trade. And frankly, our programs are proven that work. We have proven programs that work for you. Folks, the inner circle, if you want more information, you can actually go to daytradespy.com. That's our website where you can subscribe now. As a matter of fact, I had put the website link in the chat box. If you want to jump onto that and click on that, you can find out more information about what we do. And that goes directly to the inner circle. And for only $79 a month, it's really a no-brainer. Subscribe now, you can get that. Folks, I have a thank you gift for you too, all right? And this is, I think you're gonna really like this. This is actually an interesting thing. I had years ago, people would ask me, they said, Hugh, you know, do you have any stories about people, any references or this or that? And I said, actually, I do. I do. What happened was I put a number of stories in my in an ebook, and I'm going to give you this number of stories. I think it's a really great reading. It's called Triumphs and Tragedies. Very inspiring, very entertaining, and I think you're going to get a real satisfaction, real pleasure out of reading this. All you have to do is send an email to hello@daytradespy.com. Mention that you watched this webinar, and we will send you our Triumphs and Tragedies ebook, true stories of some of the many clients we have had over the years. And I think that's a pretty cool gift. A lot of people really, really love it. Folks, I'm going to thank you all again for joining us here, and thank you too for Anna at Investor Expos for giving us this opportunity. And folks, I'm going to just ask that you stay safe, and through these trying times, we will get through them together. And with that, I'm going to let you go. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you again, Anna.